welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and we've got our knit hats on today because we are going to talk books set in winter. This week we kicked off our winter reading program. We've got bingo sheets for kids, for teens, and adults. All you have to do is mark off the squares as you complete them. Any activity, you can substitute 30 minutes of reading. If you get a bingo, bring it on in and you get an entry for a grand prize. You might win. You can do 4 bingos per card, and if you go for broke and want to do everything, you can do a blackout for 1 additional entry. And our program runs until February 17th. So stop in and pick up your bingo card from one of us at the library. So Jill, with this lovely weather we've been having,
we're in winter, all right.
What's your first pick for a cold wintry book?
My first one is The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. This was published in 2018. Everyone's invited and everyone's a suspect. During the languid days of Christmas break, a group of 30-something friends from Oxford meet to welcome in the new year together, a tradition they set as students 10 years ago. For this vacation, they've chosen an idyllic and isolated estate in the Scottish Highlands, the perfect place to get away and unwind by themselves. They arrive on December 30th, just before a historic blizzard seals the lodge off from the outside world. 2 days later, on New Year's Day, one of them is dead. The trip began innocently enough, admiring the stunning and foreboding scenery, champagne in front of a crackling fire, and reminiscences of the past. But after a decade, the weight of secret resentments has grown too heavy for the group's tenuous nostalgia to bear. Amid the boisterous revelry of New Year's Eve, a cord holding them together snaps. Now one of them is dead, and another one of them did it. Keep your friends close, the old adage goes, but just how close is too close?
I listened to that one as an audio. That was a fun one to listen to. Good pick. And I'm taking a different turn for my first pick. I have a romantic comedy for my first one. And this is A Winter in New York by Josie Silver, which was published in October of last year. A young chef stumbles on a secret family recipe that might lead her to the love and life she's been looking for in this novel. When Iris decides to move to New York to restart her life, she realizes she underestimated how big the Big Apple really is. All the nostalgic movies set in New York she'd watched with her mom while eating their special secret recipe gelato didn't quite do it justice. But Bobby, Iris's best friend, isn't about to let her hide away. He drags her to a famous autumn street fair in Little Italy. And as they walk through the food stalls, a little family-run gelato stand catches her eye. Could it be the same shop that's in an old photo of her mom's? Curious, Iris returns the next day and meets the handsome Gio, who tells her that the shop is in danger of closing. His uncle, sole keeper of their family's gelato recipe, is in a coma, so they can't make more. When Iris samples the last remaining batch, she realizes that their gelato and her gelato are one and the same. But how can she tell them she knows their secret recipe when she's not sure why Gio's uncle gave it to her mom in the first place? Iris offers her service as a chef to help them recreate the flavor and finds herself falling for Gio and his family. But when Gio's uncle finally wakes up, all of the secrets Iris has been keeping threaten to ruin the new life and new love she's been building all winter long. So if you're looking for a romantic comedy set in winter, check out A Winter in New York.
And with food.
Yeah, and we've said before, there's a lot of books that take place out in New York.
Yeah, it is. It's a very scenic place, I think. This one isn't in New York. This is another thriller that takes place in a remote place with a storm. One by One by Ruth Ware. This was published in 2020. Getting snowed in on a beautiful rustic mountain chalet doesn't sound like the worst problem in the world, especially when there's a breathtaking vista, cozy fire, and company to keep you warm. But what happens when the company is 8 of your coworkers and you can't trust any of them? When an off-site company retreat meant to promote mindfulness and collaboration goes utterly wrong, when an avalanche hits, the corporate food chain becomes irrelevant and survival trumps togetherness. Come Monday morning, how many members short will the team be? #1 New York Times bestselling author Turn of the Key in the Dark Wood returns with a suspenseful thriller set on a snow-covered mountain. So, One by One by Ruth Ware.
I read that one. My second pick is a mystery, and it is The Winter Guest by W.C. Ryan, and this was published in 2022. The drive leads past the gatehouse and through the trees toward the big house, visible through the winter-bared branches. Its windows stare down at Harkin and the sea beyond. It's January 1921. Though the Great War is over in Ireland, a new civil war is raging. The once grand Kilcolgan house, a crumbling bastion shrouded in sea mist, lies half empty and filled with ghosts, both real and imagined. The Prendevilles, the noble family within, coexisting only as the balance of their secrets is kept. Then, when an IRA ambush goes terribly wrong, Maud Prendeville, eldest daughter of Lord Kilcolgan, is killed, leaving the family reeling. Yet the IRA column insists they left her alive, that someone else must have been responsible for her terrible fate. Captain Tom Harkin, an IRA intelligence officer and Maud's former fiancé, is sent to investigate, becoming an unwelcome guest in this strange, gloomy household. Working undercover, Harkin must delve into the house's secrets and discover where, in this fractured, embattled town, each family member's allegiance truly is. But Harkin, too, is haunted by the ghosts of the past and by his terrible experiences on the battlefields. Can he find out the truth about Maud before the past and his strange, unnerving surroundings overwhelm him? So, this mystery sounded like a good one, and I'm always a fan of books taking place in Ireland, so The Winter Guest.
So my next one is not a thriller. It's Winterwood by Shea Earnshaw. Be careful of the dark, dark wood, especially the woods surrounding the town of Fir Haven. Some say these woods are magical, haunted even. Rumored to be a witch, only Nora Walker knows the truth. She and the Walker women before her have always shared a special connection with the woods. And it's this special connection that leads Nora to Oliver Huntsman, the same boy who disappeared from the camp for wayward boys weeks ago, and in the middle of the worst snowstorm in years. He should be dead, but here he is alive, left in the woods with no memory of the time he's been missing. But Nora can feel an uneasy shift in the woods at Oliver's presence, and it's not too long after Nora realizes she has no choice but to unearth the truth behind how the boy she has come to care so deeply about survived his time in the forest, and what led him there in the first place. What Nora doesn't know, though, is that Oliver has secrets of his own, secrets he'll do anything to keep buried, because as it turns out, he wasn't the only one to have gone missing on that fateful night all those weeks ago. For as long as there have been fairy tales, we have been warned to fear what lies in the dark, dark woods. This book is for fans of practical magic, where dark fairy tales and enchanted folklore collide after a boy, believed to be missing, emerges from the magical woods and falls in love with the witch, determined to unravel his secrets. So, something a little witchy with a little bit of love.
My third pick is one of my favorite books, and this is popular author Kristen Hanna, and this is Winter Garden, which was published back in 2010, which is hard for me to believe that that's been around that long. Meredith and Nina are as different as sisters can be. One stayed at home to raise her kids and manage the family apple orchard. The other followed a dream and traveled the world to become a famous photojournalist. But when their beloved father falls ill, Meredith and Nina find themselves together again, standing alongside their cold, disapproving mother, Anya, who even now offers no comfort to her daughters. As children, the only connection between them was the Russian fairy tale Anya sometimes told the girls at night. On his deathbed, their father extracts a promise from the women in his life. The fairy tale will be told one last time and all the way to the end. Thus begins an unexpected journey into the truth of Anya's life in war-torn Leningrad more than 5 decades ago. Alternating between the past and present, Meredith and Nina will finally hear the singular, harrowing story of their mom's life, and what they learn is a secret so terrible and terrifying that it shakes the very foundation of their family, and it changes who they believe they are. Definitely one of my favorite Kristen Hanna books, so check out Winter Garden.
So I think Short Story Group is familiar with this author. Isabella Land. This is a novel in the midst of winter. This was published in 2017. In the midst of winter begins in a minor traffic accident, which becomes a catalyst for an unexpected and moving love story between two people who thought they were in the winter of their lives. Richard Bowmaster, a 60-year-old human rights scholar, hits the car of Evelyn Ortega, a young undocumented immigrant from Guatemala, in the middle of a snowstorm in Brooklyn. What at first seems a small inconvenience takes an unforeseen and more serious turn when Evelyn turns up at the professor's house seeking help. At a loss, the professor asks his tenant, Lucia Meraz, a 62-year-old lecturer from Chile, for her advice. These three very different people are brought together in a mesmerizing story that moves from present-day Brooklyn to Guatemala in the recent past to 1970s Chile and Brazil, sparking the beginning of a long overdue love story between Richard and Lucia.
She writes beautifully. My short story group loves her short stories. Next pick is is a serious book, and this is The Center of Winter by Maria Hornbacher, which was published in 2006. At the center of winter in Motley, Minnesota, Arnold Schiller gives in to the oppressive season that reigns outside and also to his own demons. He commits suicide, leaving a devastated family in his wake. Claire Schiller, wife and mom, must emerge from her grief and help her 2 young children to recover. 12-year-old Esau is haunted by the same darkness that plagued his father. Already he has been in and out of psychiatric hospitals, and now he must overcome the forces that drive him deep into himself. 6-year-old Katie tries to help her mother hold the family together, but has to come to terms with the memory of her father, who was at once loving and cruel. The book is narrated alternately by Claire, Katie, and Esau. So this powerful novel explores the ways in which both children and adults experience tragic events, discover solace and hope in one another, and try to survive. So a serious pick, The Center of Winter.
So for my last pick, it's a little bit different, a little lighthearted. If you want a little romance that involves some like snowy stuff, Icing on the Lake by Catherine Clark. This was published in 2005, and I think this is the only copy in the system, so if you want it, you're going to have to put it on hold. New Year's Resolutions by Kristen. With the help of Crystal Jones and Emma, I survived the month at my sister's house, survived my 3-year-old nephew and crazy sister. 2, learn to skate better, or not fall down, or just get a cuter skating outfit. 3, find hockey-playing, winter-loving hottie and invite him for the weekend cabin trip, a.k.a. groundhog getaway with everyone. Oh, sure, no problem. So this is the story about a girl named Kristen who moves to Minneapolis for a month to help her sister, who has broken her leg. As soon as she arrives, she meets the super cute Benson brothers. Sean is really cute and acts totally interested, while Connor is equally cute, but acts like he hates her. So if you want to find out what happens, you're going to have to read Icing on the Lake.
Oh, gosh.
Clark.
My last pick also takes me to a house in Ireland.
Nice, Ireland.
Another Week in Winter, it's called, by Maeve Binchy, and this was the last book that she wrote before her death.
Oh, wow.
So, Stonybridge is a small town on the west coast of Ireland where all the families know one another. When Chickie Starr decides to take an old decaying mansion set high on the cliffs overlooking the windswept Atlantic Ocean and turn it into a restful place for the holidays, everyone thinks she's crazy. Helped by Rigger, a bad boy turned good who is handy around the house, and Orla, her niece, a whiz at business, Chickie's finally ready to welcome the first guests to Stonehouse's big warm kitchen, log fires, and understated elegant bedrooms. Sharing a week with the unlikely cast of characters in this book is pure joy. It's full of Maeve Binchy's trademark warmth and humor, and once again she grabs us with her grand storytelling. As are all her stories, it's her trademark warmth, humor, and the kind of characters that make her books live on, and it's a privilege to actually be able to share this one with readers. Her last book that she wrote, A Week in Winter, published back in 2012. I like her. She makes me laugh in her books. And
I feel like Ireland probably has long winters.
yeah, probably. It's only been in summer.
Well, we hope we helped you find something to read if you want to embrace this cold weather and read about winter.
And next week we're going to escape winter and talk about books that take place in tropical places instead. So we hope you come in and participate in our winter reading program, Warm Up to Winter. Again, it started this week and it runs until February 17th. And just stop in at the desk and ask for a bingo card. We thanks for watching our videos. Find us on Facebook, our YouTube channel. And until next time, stay warm. Bye-bye. Bye.